Good morning, everybody. Hello, everybody. Welcome to, we were actually in some conversation this morning, whether this was the 5th or the 6th Boris Coffee Morning, actually. We believe it's the 5th. So welcome to our 5th Coffee Morning. We've been delighted with the response from you all and for how many people we had again want to join us for today's Coffee Morning. So thank you from the bottom of our hearts. We really do mean that.
Yeah.
Today, we've got another 2 great topics to go through with you today. So, we've got a big session. It's due to last from 8 o'clock until 9 o'clock. Thanks again for joining us. Hopefully you've grabbed a cup of coffee and you're all ready to go. We're going to kick off this morning with, first of all, our brand new holiday module. I'm going to walk you through that and show you some different functionality from within it. And then the second half of today's session, Shatu's going to take over and she is going to give us a demonstration on back to basics of Boris, really looking at data input and how you standardize that data input across your business. So 2 great topics we think we've got lined up for you today. Just then to give you a little bit further in terms of the process and the outline for today, just jumping across over to the agenda slide, you'll see that first of all we've hopefully indicated on the screen that we've got the holiday module first, we've got back to basics session second, and we've left enough time at the end for a question and answer session. Although we do have Michelle over in the room controlling the technology again, she'll also be receiving questions in on YouTube, via info at our Boris email address. So any questions you want to send in, this is going to be another interactive session. So we'll take questions at the end of each of the modules. So without further ado, let's jump into today's presentation. The very first one, as I say, is going to be the holiday planner and the holiday module. Now, for this, what am I going to show you today? Well, what you'll be seeing on your screens will be 2 different back of house login screens. So the way that the holiday module works is that you would typically have a user, an individual within the business, and you'd have a holiday administrator. You'd also have an app as well, which would allow for all that functionality of being able to book holidays, completely return to works, etc., etc., etc. Can all be done through the app. Now, because of time today, we're not actually going to show the app. We're going to stick with the 2 back screens, and the reason is I want to show you the process involved. And we've only got about 20 minutes to do it. So please feel free to send through any questions relating to back of house or to the app, and we'll be able to answer them all. So I'm going to use technology again, and I'm going to jump across now, hopefully over to a screen share of our solution. Now, hopefully you should be able to see me like a gamer in the corner, interacting with our TV, but you should also be able to see that TV, that screen, on your screen as well. So, welcome to the Boris Holiday Module. For those of you, I know most of you are Boris customers today. We do have some potential new customers that are on the on this particular coffee morning. However, for those of you that are Boris users and experienced Boris users, you will know that this skin looks ever so slightly different, and that's because this is one of the new skins that we're building within the system. So we built the holiday module around this particular skin. So, what are we going to do today? Well, the very first thing we're going to do is we're going to add a new employee to our holiday module. So, you'll see here that I have all of my employees in a view. And you'll see over on the left-hand side that I've got some of the Boris usual quick-fire navigation points. So if I click onto Setup, you'll see there that I've got the usual system users area. So I'm going to click onto that. I'm going to jump across into the area that allows me to create a new user within the system. Again, I'm going to scroll down to the bottom and I'm going to add a user. Now I'm going to jump across over onto my laptop to do this just because it's a little bit easier to do. And I'm just going to come up with a random name of someone. I'm going to call him John Smith. We are a Yorkshire business, so let's put John Smith in there now. Now, when we're building up the new employee within the system, there's some basic information that we always need to populate into the system. But the most important question on this page is this question here, the role. When it comes to the holiday module, as I said at the very beginning, there's two principal roles to this. There's the individual, the employee, and there's also the administrator, the team leader or the line manager access. And what we need to do here is we need to actually assign a role to this individual. Now, in this particular case, we've set up an office role. Now, this could be field-based, it could be an office-based, but this is someone that we're going to limit the access within the system. And when I say limit the access within the system, there's many reasons why we need to do that, both for data protection legislation, but also for the protection of your employees. So we've created that user, we've set up a password, and we've given them an office role, and we're now going to create within the advanced tab. So it was in setup, it was in system users, just as we normally do. We created a new user with add user down at the bottom. We then selected that particular user and we assigned the groups to that user. We then went back to the overall staff and we saw John Smith just here within our all employees area. So again, we're going to jump back into John Smith. And as I was saying at the time, and I think you were all looking at the agenda screen, what you'll see here is that we've got John Smith's details all contained within this individual holiday record, but as I say, I'm actually sat within the admin view. Now, what we need to do, we've told the system what a standard annual leave is, but we need to generate John Smith's entitlement. And then we do that with this big button here that says Generate New Entitlement. So we're going to click on that, and as per usual with the Boris system, it brings you up an additional box. So we're going to give that employee a start date. Now, our holiday calendar runs from the 1st of April to the 1st of April. So first of all, I'm going to say that John Smith has started on the 1st of April. It makes it nice and easy to work out. We're going to select that he works 5 days a week, and we're going to select the days. Now, this system is set up to be able to manage those 5 days, those 40 hours across 5 days. But it may be that you have part-time workers, you've got shift pattern workers, and again, if you need the system to be set up in that way, we will set up the system in that way for you to accommodate the different shift patterns that you have within your business. We haven't done that here, we've just simply created a very standard type of 20 days over 5 days a week. And you'll see that that has immediately updated the holiday entitlement to 20 days. Now, let me just say, perhaps there what we've done is we've actually got that date wrong, and John Smith isn't going to start until the 1st of May. Our holiday entitlement runs from the 1st of April, but John Smith's starting on the 1st of May. So I'm going to change that date over now. I'm going to select May, and I'm going to say starting on the 1st of May. And what we'll see now is that the system has automatically calculated that for you and provided you with the information that that's now 18.5 days annual leave entitlement based on the 11 out of 12 months that John Smith is going to work. Now, one of the probably most important areas and with regards to allocation that's going to happen at the moment is our post-COVID world. And I know ourselves here at Boris, we have a lot of employees that are carrying days over, annual leave over into 21-22. So we've given you the ability within the Boris system to be able to add those rollover days into the system. And if you move across over to the amend rollover days, this is where as an administrator, I have the right to assign some extra days over to this individual. So I'm going to give John his 5 days that he's rolling over from 2021. And you'll see that here, that he had a holiday entitlement of 8.5, but actually his overall holidays remaining are 23.5, which adds this extra 5 in that have been rolled over from the following day. So hopefully that you can see that on there, and you can see that we've added that now in there. So what I want to do, just before we probably go any further, is I'm just going to jump over and I'm going to log into the system as John Smith. So I'll very quickly do that on the screen, and hopefully I'm not going to cause any more technical problems with my clumsy fingers, but you'll see there that I can log in now as John Smith. Now the first thing that you should hopefully notice is a massively restricted view over on the left hand side of the page. Again, as I was trying to say earlier, John Smith will only require his own employee area with the system, and it's extremely important that we lock down other areas of the system in order to be able to simply present John Smith's information up there on the screen. So you'll see here, we've still got no pending holidays, no authorised holidays, nothing rejected. This is a brand new record that just shows John Smith's details. So, let's say for instance, John Smith now wants to book his summer holidays. I know I'm probably a little bit like John Smith, I'm desperate to go on my summer holiday. So I'm going to click on New Summer Holidays, and it's going to ask me some basic questions here. So it doesn't have to be a summer holiday, of course, it can be any type of holiday, but let me just start by selecting a date. So first thing we're going to do is we're going to say what is the first date that John Smith's going to be on holiday. And again, please bear in mind, John could be doing this through his mobile device, his app, and requesting that holiday, or he could be doing it here in the back office. It's irrelevant. Both the app and the back office have exactly the same functionality. It's just too difficult for us to be yo-yoing between screens this morning for you. Anyway, I'm going to select his holiday. I'm going to say that he's going to go off from or he's requesting to go off from the 2nd of August, and that's going to be an AM start time. Again, this is based around the fact that it's 5 days a week. Now again, shift patterns, you may need that changing within your system. Now this particular date is actually the return date. So it knows that he's working Monday to Friday, it knows that he works 5 days a week, it knows that he has the weekend off, so we're going to say that he returns on the 9th, and he's going to return in the morning. That means that he's got a total of 5 days that he's going to be on holiday. And again, John can actually add some comments in there to his line manager. So you can say, my summer holiday booking. And he can save that and send that off. So what we've done there is we've attempted, as John Smith, to request an annual leave. So what's that going to do? Well, it's going to do a number of things in our system, but it can do things very bespokely for you in your system, and it really depends on your approval stages and your process flows. The first thing this system's set up to do is to create that alert now out to the line manager. The alert is going to, first of all, trigger off via email, but it can actually alert from within the platform as well. But let's actually just go and have a look at the email that should have alerted through. So I'm just going to refresh that. I'm logged in as a... Oh, we're logged in as a different login. Okay, tell you what we're going to do. We're going to log in as the admin user. We're going to refresh the screen, and we're going to come back to John Smith. And we're going to see down here that we have, within our admin user, a pending holiday leave request, and we've got 2 options. So, as I say, that could either alert through via your email, or it could alert through within the system here. It can also create a bulletin out to the device as well. So there's a number of different ways that this could work. So we've got a couple of options. The first one is we can reject that particular holiday. There might be many reasons why you'd reject a holiday. There could be multiple people off at the same time. It could be in the wrong period of the year. we would typically then create for you some accept or reject reason codes. But actually we've only got the one here that we've programmed into the system. You would typically have a number of them, and then we can give a reason for that particular rejection. Now I'm not going to reject it, we're great people here within the HR team, so we're going to accept that now. And I'm just going to provide the authorization, and in fact I'm actually able to, in this position, send a message back. So that now has authorised John Smith's holidays, and we can see over here that this is updated and moved out of pending and across over into authorised leave. And again, we should be able to see that now. If we jump across and we refresh the screen, we will see, if we move down, that the pending holiday has moved into authorised annual leave. So that's great. John Smith has been able to request a holiday, and he's been able to have it approved and then notified back through to him that that's been approved. So we can see that that's authorised, we can see that that's gone through, and we can see that we've managed to successfully book some annual leave. However, annual leave isn't the only type of leave that you would actually experience or have requests for within the system. So I'm going to go back across over to the admin system. So I'm logged back in as the admin user. We can see over on this left hand side we've got all of the different options. We've got employee home, etc, etc. What we're going to do here is we're going to say that we want to create a new type of leave. So again, we're going to go over to the overall office staff. So when could this happen? Well, let's say, for instance, we as the line manager receive a phone call from John Smith. John Smith says to us, I've actually just, I need to book some compassionate leave. I'm going to an event. I've got a day off in lieu that I'd like to take. So there's a number of different scenarios as to why John Smith could phone in and give us an indication that he wants to create this additional leave. So let's say that I've got John Smith on the phone. I'm doing this from the admin side of things at the moment. Again, John Smith can self-serve here. He can send through his day in lieu in Crest, his compassionate leave, but we're just going to say that he's doing it now from the system. We're going to come to John Smith and we're going to click on the Create drop-down menu, and we're going to click this button here that says New Additional Leave Request. Now again, we bring up a new box up on the screen, and if we look at this box, this gives us the ability to be able to see lots of different reasons that we've already pre-inserted into the system. So in this particular case, we're going to say compassionate leave, let's say, for instance, and we're going to select a date that that compassionate leave is going to happen. We're going to select the 5th of May, and we're going to say that that's going to be from the morning. But actually we're going to come back on the 6th of May, and we're going to come back in the morning. So it's going to be a one-day, so I'll just get my keypad up, one-day allocation, and we're going to mark that as authorised. So because I'm the administrator within the system, this isn't a request coming in, this is me communicating with John Smith on the phone and booking this in for him as we go. So there we go, we've added that one-day compassionate leave in there, and in fact if we go and view John Smith, we can actually see that that has been recorded within the system. It's down here as authorised additional leave requests. Now it's probably worth noting that what this is doing up at the top is it's working out some calculations for you as it goes along. You'll see here that we still had the holiday entitlement of 18.5 days. You'll see that we added in the 5 days rollover. We've actually taken 5 because we've booked our annual leave for the summer. We've also got this count at the bottom that tells us additional days leave that we've actually taken. Now this is unique to your administrator screen. If I jump back across over onto John Smith's homepage and just refresh that page, you'll see that whilst we do have the authorisation in there for compassionate leave, you'll see that up here at the top we're not recording those additional days for him. It's mainly just for you as the administrator, the line manager, to be able to record that information and understand whether it's actually with something we need to investigate for a Bradford factor score or whatever it may be. So, but that's now all booked in and done. So, let's say for instance now, we've got a different scenario. So let's say for instance we have, let's say we need to create and add some sickness in. Again, slightly different scenario here. Typically the way that sickness would be reported is it would be reported via a telephone call into the line manager in the morning. So again, thinking about that journey and what would be happening here, your line manager probably is sat there, or the manager sat there on the telephone speaking to John Smith and understanding, actually he's got a cough, there's various things that we need to do in order to manage that. So again, I'm going to look at all of my employees as the administrator. I'm going to look at all of my employees and see them here, and you'll see that I've got John Smith, and I have got, at the moment, we're calling it unauthorised absence down here. So I'm going to say, thank you, John, yeah, completely understand, not feeling well today, you've got a cough and you've got a headache. So I'm going to record that into the system. I'm going to stick with May because I know we started him after May, and we're going to say that the 3rd, we've got period of absence starting from this morning. John's on the phone now, and we need to book him out. And John's giving us an expected return date. Now, of course, we know the way that sickness works. It's not as predictable as that, unfortunately. We don't know when we're going to be well again and when we're going to be able to return. But in this particular scenario, we are able to take an indication from John, and that's all this is doing. It's just an indication. And we're going to select that that's a cold and potentially a cough. Now, as a line manager, I also have a duty at this moment in time to recognise those symptoms. And what I'm actually going to say is that I've requested that John doesn't return until he's had a COVID test. And I'm going to add that to the notes there. And that's just for the protection of people within the business and making sure that everything's fine and that he is ready to return. So let's go and have a view of that now. And just see how that's affected John Smith's entitlement. And we'll see that currently at this moment in time, this information up in the top corner, you may have expected this to update already, and it hasn't done with the number of sick days. And that's because despite us putting a expected return to work date in, John Smith hasn't actually returned at this moment in time, and therefore that sickness hasn't actually been processed within the system. Probably like yourselves, we do various return to work stages as someone comes back into the business, and we have various requirements that we have to fulfill in order to be able to bring that person back into the business successfully. So what we'll see here is that as we scroll down, the system's going to make us aware that we have to do this return to work. Compliance within the Boris system is always really strong, and it's going to force these steps to ensure that the paperwork is right at every stage. So again, logged in as the administrator, John's now arrived back in, and actually he has returned to work. However, John didn't actually manage to get back in on the 4th, and in fact, John didn't come back in until the 5th, so he was actually off 2 days, but his COVID test was negative, so we're going to record that in there as well. So that now has processed that into the system, and if I scroll up the page, you'll see that it's now registered the 2 days sick, and it's separated those from the 1 day additional leave that's been taken. So, just to sort of wrap this up now, there's a final stage, and you'll see moved right to the top of the page, we have a return to work outstanding. So whilst we processed the leave, what we haven't done is we haven't processed the return to work. I do apologise guys, but I've just been informed Let's jump back to the agenda again. Don't know quite why it's doing this, but we'll get to the bottom of it, I'm afraid. It's OBS is the technology that we're using, and for some reason it seems to be defaulting back. So thank you, Michelle, for alerting me. Please keep an eye on it, and we'll continue to monitor this. Anyway, so to return to work, we're going to process this button here that says process. So we're going to process it, and this is going to force my return to work documentation. So what was the reason? The reason was a cough and a cold. Was medical advice sought? Well, it was in this particular scenario. Are there any follow-up appointments? No, there's not. Because John Smith was only off 2 days, there is no requirement for a medical certificate. We're not going to add any comments, and we're just going to say that's completed. By doing that now, we will see that immediately that has updated all of that information. Now I'm running out of time, but I just want to very quickly highlight a couple of other things that this holiday planner is going, or this holiday module is going to do. The first thing it's going to do is it's going to update the planner. So I'm going to go across over to the planner, and again, for those of you that are used to and accustomed to dealing with Boris planners, you'll recognise this screen. I'm going to jump across over to August. I'm going to select the date, and I'm going to look for, I've got Clint Eastwood's holidays there, and I've got John Smith as well. So we can see John Smith's booked in and he's on holiday. Now, again, we can use a colour code system here, which will indicate at a very high level whether this is a standard holiday, whether it's an absence for whatever reason, and it's a sickness. So you can see that being brought through in different colour schemes within here. Now, the final stage of this is this will also push this information out over onto the Outlook planner as well. You'll see that we've got John Smith's holidays come through here. If I now jump across over onto the planner and jump across over into August, you'll see that that integration's now pulled through, and we've got John Smith's holidays on the Outlook calendar. So in summary, guys, and I know that Shatu's desperate to get in now and do her next stage, I just want to summarise really a little bit about the holiday module. So, holiday module, currently set up, works with the app. Your teams can request their holiday from either side, from the app or from the back office. We can create bespoke approval stages and trigger notifications for you, which will then feed out both into your planner and also into Microsoft Outlook. Now, the system's ready to go, and we have both a light version and a full version. Light version is a completely free of charge version. It includes all the functionality that you've seen today, and the full version is a paid for version, which again includes this functionality, but we can talk through with you which would be the better requirement for you. So if you're interested, please give us a call after we finish the coffee morning today, or drop a message across over to Michelle, and we'll be happy to talk to you a little bit more about the holiday module. I'm probably going to save the questions till the end, Michelle, if that's okay, and allow Shatu to jump straight into her demonstration. So, back across, I'm going to navigate across through the OBS screens. We're now on front camera.
Thank you very much, James. Thank you very much, everybody, for staying with us so far through the coffee morning. So what we'll do is, just for some technical support, we're just going to put it on hold. Thank you very much, everybody, for joining with us today, and thank you to James for going through the holiday planner module. As James has said, if you are interested in further information, please get in touch with us after the coffee morning, and we'll more than happily go through a further demonstration or more details if you have any questions. What I'd like to now move back to today is back to the basics. So when we say back to the basics, We believe today we have existing clients on the Boris Coffee Morning, but also potential clients who would be interested in the Boris system. So on this back to basics, what we'll go through is the simple features within Boris that will help your day-to-day processes on site, but also the data that can get captured on site back to the back office for your admin members. So what we'll be using today is my mobile phone. So what you should currently be seeing on my screen is my mobile phone screen to your laptops, but also I have my mobile phone here, as you can see, where I will be navigating through all these options for you. So initially we will pick our customer and location, and the template we have is a generic template. So on this generic template, as we can see here, we've got many different options which we will talk through and give you the details of what these features do and what the benefits are to your team on site. So as we can see here, initially right at the top we have situation review. So the situation review comes in is if your operatives are on site and for any reason there is a risk that they found when they've arrived on site or the working conditions have changed, they have the ability to click on working conditions changed and you can have a personalised business message on this screen. So for example here, we've put do not continue until you have received updated accept method statements and risk assessments and some contact details. If we scroll down, what we then have is an ID on this template. So as we can see, the ID says sequence number 10. So this ID comes hand in hand is, for example, if you're installing a product or a service on site, you are able to give it an ID number. You are able to have numbers and alphabetical order on these sequences, completely personalised to your business. We then have pre-populated options. So as we can see at the top, we have location of the job. So this has automatically picked up the location of our jobs. So if you win a job and you have 3 different locations, or for example, if you're NHS based and you have 3 different locations, the job that you send down to the mobile phone, it'll be able to pick it and pre-populate that information for the operative. So this will support from a point of view where the operative are not having to write their locations in, it's automatically feeding into their mobile phones. We then have level. So for the level, we have put a snippet. So with this snippet, it supports your team of not having to write into a text box. So if we leave our finger on the text box, what it'll give us is a list of options of what we've already pre-populated into this snippet to make processes more productive and efficient on site. Once you've actually added this snippet, you can add further information onto that text box. Next option, we have another pre-population feature in there where it automatically brings up who the operative or the engineer is who have completed this template. So again, this supports from an admin point of view because once the template comes back, they'll be able to see who has used this template. We then have the ability to capture time. So again, we don't want operatives to be able to write in the time. You can instantly click on the clock and this will pick up the instant time that it is live. We then move on to the email address functionality. So this email functionality is very sufficient for your teams and operatives. So for example, if you're completing this template and if you wish to put in a customer email address or even a manager's email address within your business, you're able to write an email address into here. So as an example, I will add a very basic email. And what this will do is once you've completed the template, automatically this document will be sent to that email address ready for them to view. So if, for example, you've got a piece of work you finished on site, a manager instantly needs to see it, or your client has asked for it to be instantly seen, this will automatically go to them. So this won't require for you to send it back to the admin member, for the admin member to even email from there. This will automatically feed through to that email address. We then have further options on there, which is our drop-down list. So on our drop-down list, we've added some devices on there as examples. So for example, I'll put a desktop. On the second one, I'm not going to pick an actual product. What I am going to pick is other. So when I've clicked Other, what this has now done is it's brought up a further text box. So we can set these options up for you, bespoke, so if you pick a specific option, it will then be able to give you a further option to write further details in there. We then have the ability of drawings, so you're able to mark up your drawings either through the live drawing or able to mark it up with a pen. So as an example here, I've put in one drawing. However, if you are on a specific job or location which has more than one site plan, or even, for example, an accident report, which I will shortly be moving on to, is you can add in a diagram of a body, a vehicle, for you to be able to mark up. We then have our ticks and crosses, so your icons. We can add in icons to the system to make processes simpler. So for example here, if everything's okay, we can tick the yes and the tick button. However, if there then is a problem for any reason, there may be an incident, or you may have checked a PAT test which is throughout all different businesses, and then there's been a problem, if we go to click now, it then raises us an action. So as we can see here, it sets us up an action. So what we're able to do is write the information in against the action. We can then photo capture any issues that has happened and that we may need to be resolved, and also any actions that may be required. We can also add in your bespoke timescales, so if there has been an injury or if a PAT test needs to be sorted out and updated as soon as possible, we can instantly change these options for you, and you have full ability to change these options to meet your requirements. If we then go back to the template, what we can then see we have is your multiple choice. So it may be that you're, going back into the office from an operative point of view, and you're picking up a couple of products that you need. So for example, a HDMI, a power cable, a USB. So you're able to pick 3 different options, or as many options as you wish. We then have the ability to capture a photo. So this will probably be useful in the evidence of being able to evidence any work or any support that comes with a document. So you're able to do that through 2 different options. Initially, to take a live photo while you are required to do so, or either click onto your folder where you're able to then attach a photo. We then move on to capturing numbers. So in certain circumstances, you may not want to give the option for the text boxes just to be able to have letters in. So what we've got here is we've actually pushed it down the route of numeric. So you're able to put in numbers, and this saves the ability of an operative or a team member not adding in any letters into this text box. We then have pre-populated text at the bottom of the page. So with the pre-populated text, you have the ability to send the message down to the mobile phone on the template from the admin team. So for example here, we've written a statement where we've put, you can write whatever you want in this text box, for example, a declaration. The admin member will be able to add this from the admin portal for it to be pre-populated on the mobile phone. So as we can see, we've got many different options. As I stated, we will be able to add these options in for you, but also you have full access, if you already use the Boris system, to be able to add these options in. Before we move on to the next part of this back to basics, is what we can see at the top is we have page 1, page 2, drawing and site file. So you're able to split up your document processes into as many pages as you require on the Boris system. So if we go to page 2, as we can see, we have further options in there. So right at the top, we have the stopwatch, where you're able to record, for example, how long it takes to do a PAT test, how long it takes to install a fire door, or how long it takes to install a fire damper, or even to put a table together in your offices. Scrolling down, we then have the text and speech ability. So this takes it back to the text box we showed you already with the numeric ability. However, on this one, you're able to capture your text in here. So you can write into this text box. However, what we thought was, if you may be on on, a specific job, a specific location, you may have some gloves on, you're not able to write in the text, you can click the mic option on the phone, and this will be able to capture what you are saying through the phone. Okay? What we then have is signature capture. So the signature capture, we believe within Boris, is a very key functionality within the system. The reason for this being is you're signing off and evidencing that you have done the specific works. So for example, you have completed a template and you need to sign off from a compliance, health and safety, or even to evidence your work. However, it also may require your customer to capture their signature to say, yes, we have seen these piece of works, or we've gone through a specific document. But we can add in a mandatory field. So mandatory fields, you're able to add in on any of these options. This will force the operative, the customer, the team member to complete that feature before they move on. So for example here, if I attempt to sign on this signature box, it will not let me to proceed further. What it will force me to do is open the documents, so we're able to attach as many documents as you want to these templates, such as PDF, Word, and videos. So we'll open up all three documents. We'll open the final one up. So as you can see, you can flick through the screen, and also it should now let us sign off all the documents. However, what it's actually done is I've flicked through these documents, but what it's asking me is that I've not completed all of them because I've not reviewed all the pages. We then have the sketch functionality. So as you can see on here, we have the ability to draw a sketch. So this might be because you're installing a pipe, a water pipe, a set of wires within your offices, and you're able to draw out exactly where it is. We're then able to add in GPS location capture, so you're instantly able to see where this template was completed. Was it in the office, was it on the train, or was it in a specific location of where they were? The admin member will be able to review this, and it'll take them to Bing Maps to view where they have been. As I explained in the previous option, we're able to add in data sheets, so for example, such as compliance documents. So as we can see here, if we pick an eye protection document, we're then able to open this document up, and your team members are able to view this instantly from their mobile phones. If we then go back, we then have the scanning functionality. So on the scanning functionality, we can have it in two different options, either as an asset management system or your generic system. So with your asset management system, you're able to track and monitor any product from cradle to grave with an NFC tag or an NFC pin, where the system, you'll be automatically able to read the pin or the NFC tag from your mobile phone. We also have the ability of QR code and barcode, where you're able to scan this from the mobile phone and save information against this document. Finally on here we have the contacts. So again, another option which supports time of operatives on site, of having to ring into the admin team back to the back office to say, where am I going on site? I need this product, I need this service, or how do I do this specific job, etc. You're able to bring up as many site contacts as you want. So as a mandatory field, we've added in an office manager that I need to support and be able to contact when I require. So for example here, you've got the email address, the office number, and you're able to instantly ring from the mobile phone. And also you're able to instantly message. Scrolling back to the top, what we then have across the top, we have the drawing functionality, where you're able to mark up a drawing. So this is an offline drawing, however we have the instant live drawing where you're able to drop a pin. But in this circumstance, I'm just going to mark the drawing up with a pen icon, and that will let my team know that is exactly where I completed my document. We then have the site files. So the site files could be work instructions, product instructions, health and safety documents. Once again, these can be PDF, Word, and videos. These options, as stated, are completely bespoke to you, so you can change the wordings of them. You're able to add these in within your team. You're able to get feedback. However, at the end of this session, if you do, from an existing client point of view, wish to add these features in that you may have not used in the past, please get in touch with your account manager and we'll happily to take you through how these options work and possibly what part of your template these options would work great for you. So as a generic template, we've shown an example of how the generic template options are, but what I'd like to click into is an example of a template that is probably efficient to majority of businesses that may be on this coffee morning today. So what we have here is an incident report. So we'll pick Boris Compliance, and as we can see, we actually have a whole module of compliance options within the system. So for example, accident notification forms, staff inductions, toolbox talks, your commitments from an operative to a business, you'll even have your COVID-19 temperature checks. So we'll click into the accident notification report, and as we can see here, all the options that were in our generic template have actually been worded around an incident report. So as we can see here, we've got the time capture, we have the automatic date, we have the text boxes, we have the drop-down list, all related to your incidents that may happen in your office, on site, etc. We then have employees involved, so you can have your list of employees with their company ID numbers automatically picked up. You have obviously all your multiple choices is on here, as you can see, the type of task, who was involved, what shift was they on. We then have the nature of the industry, which again is your multiple choices. We then click onto the further screen, which is your drawing. So as I stated, it doesn't have to be just a floor plan. You can even have a body, a vehicle to be able to show you where you mark up and where this injury has happened. So for example here, we'll say the injury has happened on the upper side of the arm. We then have the reporting aspect of the system, where you're then able to say, well, how was this incident happened and who reported this incident? So for example, we'll put that Michelle has reported this incident, what her position is, we'll put manager, the date, and then Michelle is able to sign off to say, yes, I reported this evidence of this injury. What we'll move on to from here is some examples of outputs the document can give you. So for example, all these documents need to be reported in an admin system. So on here, as we can see, we have a report screen of all the reports that you have completed from your mobile phones straight to the back office portal. So as an example, I've already completed a accident notification report. We'll click into that. So as you can see, it says it was reported on the 22nd. The customer was compliant, or it may be the location. Once we click into this template, it will give us everything we have completed on site. So all your information, who was completed by, where this incident has happened. You've then got when this document was completed, and then also all the information we have captured here. So as we can see, the date, the time, the location, the type of event, the type of injury, what employees were involved. So for you, we've put Rajiv, what the brief description of the event is, slipped in the hallway. Was there any details of witnesses? Yes, James was there at the time of this incident has happened. We then have captured all the issues that's happened while the incidents happened in the office. So for example here, we've said that there has been some bruises because he slipped in the hallway. We then have the drawing where we're able to show us where that incident has happened. So initially when I completed this document, I said that his elbow got bruised when he slipped in the hallway. Scrolling back down, what we then have, it says who reported it. So I put Mark Humphrey, the manager, and also his signature is captured to say, yeah, I've signed off and I've recorded this incident. Moving on to another option is the system is able to give you instant live bespoke reports to your processes. So any documents or any information you capture on the Boris system, we're able to give you a document that you can take out the system or either instantly email, as I previously said on the template. These documents can be PDF, Word or Excel. As an example, we've created a document for this incident report. So on the bottom here, as you can see, we have the different buttons, and what you're able to do is click the option that you want, and automatically, as you can see on the bottom of the left-hand side, it's created you your document. So the admin member don't need to sit around in the office having to create a document. The system instantly creates these documents for you. So if we click into this document, what we should be able to see is all the digital format of the information we captured. So again, the date, the time, what was the injury, as we can see, Rajiv, the employee number, what happened, slipped in the hallway, the detail of the witness, so as we can see, James was the witness, the markup of to say that is where he did the bruising, and also the reported by and the signature, as you've seen on the digital format of Mark signing off to say this is the incident. So, as we said today, we wanted to go back to the generics of the system. So I'm hoping today we've gone through the features that you can add into your templates, and even documents that you have not already got digitized, we can completely digitize your business processes for you. So I believe we're running out of time. We've got James coming back into the screen. So just wanted to check, Michelle, have we got any questions or?
We do, of course.
Great.
I'm just going to jump back to the holiday first.
Yes.
Paul asked if we can separate the operatives from the office staff.
Yes, absolutely. So, sorry, in the structure that you create, you assign a line manager to that individual. That line manager will then have their own customized screen that allows them to only view their employees. So we're protecting that employee data in exactly the same way as we're protecting it for John Smith, in that he can't see his colleagues' data. We're also protecting that team or that department within the business as well. But that's exactly the way that the system's set up. Great question.
Just one more on holidays. Does a back office user need their own license?
It depends if it's going to be a read-only access or whether it's going to be full access. Again, as I said to you before, there is a light free version available as well as a paid-for version. In both scenarios, that particular end user, we need to consider that as a read-only user or whether as an interactive user. But again, if you've got any questions, please give us a call immediately afterwards, whoever plays that call, and we can go through a fuller explanation.
No problem. One more on holidays. Does the app have the same functionality?
Exactly the same functionality. So the app will allow me as an individual, let's say I'm John Smith, I can request my holiday, go through the approval stages, I can complete any return to work documentation, I can indicate that I'm sick through the app. Any functionality that you as a business want to give that individual through their holiday module can be replicated both in the back office and in the app. So again, great question. Thank you for asking that, whoever that was.
Fantastic. Moving on to the data entry side of things. Various questions on, I guess, how those different inputs can be added into the template. So I guess the overall question is, can users edit their own templates and add in those options?
Great, so thank you very much. Great question. So when we say users, you have two users on the Boris system. You have your operatives and your admin members. The operatives will not be able to edit the templates. It is the admin members who will be able to edit, monitor these features within the template and add in any specific options that they want. Thank you.
Further on the templates in the system, can you price and cost jobs?
Thank you, Michelle. Very, very good question, actually. A point that we works in the background. It's not something that we could possibly show you on the actual template. So when I showed you the option in the numeric field, what the system is able to do, so as a great example, it's not, not far up from 9 o'clock now. I think everyone's getting a bit hungry. If, for example, after the coffee morning, we've got a template to order McDonald's, if we, for example, put a burger, a chips, which I don't think you get in the menu for the breakfast,
No.
but you're able to put a pricing and costing strategy against those options. So for example, if your burger costs £1 and your chips cost £2, the system will be able to automatically work out for the admin members the pricing and costing. So it will automatically work out it costed James £3 this morning to pay for our breakfast. And from there, you're also able to show this to your customers. So we'll be able to work out the factor from your pricing, the productivity, and the profit the business has earned as well. So if anyone is not, from an existing client point of view, is not using the pricing and costing functionality of the system, please get in touch with myself or James, your account managers, and we will take you through a training session with the implementation managers and so support how you can use this feature to help your processes and save time from an admin point of view. Thank you.
Great. Well, apologies once again for the technical challenges that we experienced today. Hopefully you weren't sat on the agenda slide for too long and we were able to revisit things. There were some brilliant questions that have come through there. I can see in Michelle's face there's additional questions we've not had a chance to answer today. So let's see if we can consolidate some feedback for you and get that out maybe, Michelle, next week or whenever we're available to do so. But if you have any further questions in the meantime, anything that's been of interest today, you'd like to talk through the holiday module, you'd like to talk through how we can maybe revisit some of these documents for you that you're currently using, that you think that we can actually drive better data quality and standardization into your business, because ultimately, and I think that's the upshot here, is if we can get better data quality coming into the business, you can report better data quality and you can analyze that data in a much better way. So again, anything that you want to talk to us that's come out of today or anything else that we haven't discussed, of course, give us a call immediately after the Boris Coffee Morning. All I think that's left to say is to wrap up, say thank you again for joining us on our 6th Coffee Morning, and we'll see you next time on the 6th, 7th Coffee Morning. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you, everybody. Bye-bye.